Good morning. It's Wednesday, the earliest, longest, and best day of your cruise. Tracy Arm is the most spectacular of the fjords in Alaska. You can go to Chile, you can go to Scandinavia, but nothing compares to Tracy Arms. In the words of John Muir, in 1879, when he first visited this beautiful place, he said, "This is Yosemite, this is Yellowstone, only with ice." And the grandeur of Mother Nature is the glaciers, is the ice you're going to see. Nothing will ever compare to your visit to Tracy Arm. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, your floating resort, the Sapphire Princess, is now in position for you to see one of the wonders of the world. Directly ahead, the starboard bow, is a glacial fjord. You can only see these in Chile and in Scandinavia. This is one of the few perfect ones. For the next 2 miles, we'll be talking to you about the changes. Now, first thing you notice on the starboard side is almost no trees, except for a few patches of Sitka spruce high up around the 4,000 foot level. There's not much vegetation but lichen and moss and the striations created by the glaciers. Now, you people over on the port side, you have a different view. You'll see a lot more cascades. Ladies and gentlemen, the glacial fjord has 2 ice fields on either side. On the starboard side is the Juneau ice field, the 5th largest ice field in North America. Unfortunately, it used to be home for 141 glaciers, but this past year we're down to 133. The count is diminishing because of the global warming. Now, over on the port side of the ship, you are looking at the Sitkine ice field. Now, both these ice fields propel glaciers down from the alpine tops through the valleys. And if you look up now around the Sapphire, you'll see all types of clinging glaciers. There used to be solid rivers of ice. Now they're streams. And if you look at the walls of the glacier, the first 4,000 feet, that was the area that was taken 40,000 to 11,000 years ago. The glacier normally retreats in advance every 180 years. As the glacier went backwards and forwards, it left its mark. Notice up above the glacial striations, you can see some trees. When a glacier comes back through this area, it reforests the area, but it takes almost 200 years. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at lichen and moss over on the starboard side of the ship. Over on the port side of the ship, you're going to see higher plants called alder, and it'd be really tangled to walk through that. Now, if you look on the starboard side, the green trees are called Sitka spruce. The brown trees are known as western hemlock. There's a few cedars. You can see the different colors. The rainforest here, I want you to remember the name, Tongass National Park. Established in 1980 by Congress, was actually a monument in 1907 by President Teddy Roosevelt. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the largest one, not in Alaska, not in the United States, but in the world. 17 million acres. All the ice is gone now. Used to be rivers of ice coming down the side, on the starboard side here, used to be rivers of ice. 8 years ago they were there. 2 years from now, there's not going to be anything to remember the ice by, except the tidewater glaciers we're going to in the next 20 miles. But I have a special view for all you people on the starboard side coming up in 1.25 miles. You're coming to the most famous of the waterfalls. It's ahead at 1 o'clock. That's the hole-in-the-wall waterfalls, the most significant one inside Tracy Arms. The rest are all from the melting. Remember this, the compactness of the vision you see in Tracy Arms is the beauty. But you know what? Change is constant here in Tracy Arm. At one time, there was an alpine glacier that ran into this river of ice that you're looking at. Now the river is half melted. You can see the cascades coming down through it, or if you go up higher, above 4,000 feet, you can see that there's ice for hundreds of feet, and then there's openings. Clinging glacier is what they used to call that. I still do. And above it, what's left of an alpine. And to your left, there was a landslide there not too long ago. Straight ahead, that big face was much bigger. But you see, in the wintertime, the ice keeps it nice. But when it defrosts in May, it comes down. Now, the best is always last, you know. We've saved it for you. We're going into the ice country. Now you can see a lot of ice around the ship right now. As we come to a stop, you can see the Bittybergs. That's the small pieces of ice that go from, 200 pounds to maybe a ton. Then the bigger ones closer to shore and off on the starboard side, and there's several big ones on the port side. Those are called growlers, and they're 2 to 4 tons. I want you to remember though, only 12% are above the water line. The rest are down below. Glacial calving goes on in the South Sawyer. This thing goes on maybe 19 times an hour. You can't always believe it, but it's active, constantly active. When we got to the first glacier, it's called Sawyer, you saw a few seals. This is the largest berthing area. All 17 tidewater glaciers in Alaska are protected. In weeks gone by, in the last couple of months, we've actually watched seals give birth to puppies. It's a beautiful place. Tracy Arms is a monument to the power of ice. As you look forward, you can see the landscape was carved by its unimaginable form. A dynamic process that continues to this day. Folks, this is a solid block of stone around us. It's predominantly erosion-resistant granite, marble and schist, with some deposits of softer slate, green schist, and limestone. A wall of ice a mile wide, grinded and shifted by gravity, cut through the underlying bedrock. Ladies and gentlemen, this used to be a quarter-mile wide. Now it's a mile wide. The grandeur of Mother Nature are the glaciers. If you looked at South Sawyer in the distance, you saw something that was three-dimensional. An alpine glacier coming down from 10,000 feet. A valley glacier that came down from 7,000 feet. And the big thing that you want to remember, you were near a tidewater glacier, the glacier that goes down to the water. The significance of going to Tracy Arms comes from the words of John Muir. He said, "Mother Nature has never been grander. This is like Yosemite, only with ice." And folks, you got to see the ice. Tracy Arms has been receding heavily for the last 180 years. Tracy Arms is a glacial fjord, so it's not a V-shaped valley. It's a U-shaped, 27 miles it has receded. Remember, Tracy Arm is 31 miles long. The ice has gone back. The ice was right where we went in. 180 years ago, it was all ice. It's gone all the way up to where those two glaciers are. And just so you know, it hasn't stopped receding. That South Sawyer, you saw all that ice today in the water?
that all came from South Sawyer Glacier. South Sawyer is 2 miles wide and 12 miles long. It's 200 feet thick on land, but when it gets in the water, it's 500 feet thick. And it calves, and it drops off large pieces. When they're school bus size, they call them bittybergs, and they drop down. When they're 5-story building size, they call them growlers, and they splash down. When those hit, they sometimes go down 250 feet. Remember, the water in front of the glaciers is 600 feet deep. The water under the ship was 1,200 feet deep. But when they go down, these are the nasty ones. They go down, and it's all salt water, and it brings it up. And they are like torpedoes when they come up. They will cause waves, and people in kayaks and zodiacs and some of those sightseeing boats, they get a little rock and roll. To me, you had a special day, and we enjoyed, of course, all the various opportunities to see the whales early in the morning. I hope you saw some of the seabirds, as the gaseous gulls, the herring gulls, some of the kitty hawks, and a few Arctic terns flew around the ship. We saw some harbor seals, but you know what? Every time you come back, it'll be different, because this is Tracy Arm.
The day is never over. The day is always change. And as long as you are part of it, you will be ahead of the game. The words were John Muir's, and to him and to all of you, have a great day. And remember, here in Tracy Arm, Alaska is at its best. This is Dr. Tom Ryan, signing off on the navigational bridge of your floating resort, the Sapphire Princess.